Today on Talk Tennis, we are talking all about virtual tennis with two awesome guests who both happen to be from Brazil. Our first guest spent his college years competing at the University of South Florida. He graduated with a finance and management background and went on to play as a pro on the ATP Tour. Post-career, he worked as a tour supervisor for the WTA and now is vice president of Sense Arena for Tennis. Welcome to Talk Tennis, Yannick Yashizawa. I'm sure I mispronounced that.
That was very good. No, thanks, Michelle. Appreciated you having us here, and excited for this.
Yes, I'm so excited. And then let me introduce our second guest, who is a Team T-Dub for life and one of our favorite ladies to watch compete on the WTA Tour. She's back from injury and setting the doubles court on fire in 2023 with 2 titles already. She has a bronze medal and won her first Grand Slam this year in mixed doubles at Australia. Career high ranking inside top 10. Welcome to Talk Tennis, Luisa Stefani.
Thank you. Thanks for the intro, Michelle. It's a pleasure to be here with you guys.
Yay. Okay.
Thanks for having us.
Of course. Super excited. Before we get into the background of either of you two, I'm sure you guys have known each other like in and out through juniors and different career paths. So talk to me about the first time you guys met, or maybe you guys did know each other in juniors. Talk about your relationship.
I can start because Luisa is much younger than I am. So I wish I was playing juniors when she was. But actually, funny story, I played tennis. Again, I'm from 1990. Lu, what year are you?
97.
97, yeah. So we definitely did not play juniors. Or maybe when I saw her, she was very little, probably already serving volley when she was 10 years old. But yeah, I think growing up playing tennis and then moving into the tour, that's when I started getting to know Luisa more. I think when I was working at the WTA already, and then she was springing into her professional career after college, and so I started seeing and getting to know her better and better, I would say, during the 2 years. And then, as we know, the tennis world is very small. We started having actually quite acquaintance that worked. Actually, one of her on and off coaches that works with her, Stephanie Tomida, is from my hometown in Brazil. And we actually played juniors together. And then also my aunt ended up working very closely with Luisa as her manager for a couple, I don't know for how long, but also, so there was a lot of things happening as well. So that's my side of the story.
No, that's perfect. That sums it up. I think I've heard his name maybe throughout juniors, or more even so through college, through acquaintances, like you said. And then I got to know him a bit better during WTA Tour when I started playing more WTAs and would meet him at tournaments. And then, yeah, I worked with his aunt for about a year recently and have a lot of respect and admire his family. So, and now I feel like we got together again. So it's been really fun. I think we're both from Brazil, but it's been in the recent years, I think we've grown closer and been closer on tour and off as well in different things, which is really cool.
Nice. That's awesome. And I know Luisa a little bit better than I know you, Yannick, but I wanted you both to kind of give us an update on how you got to where you are right now. So for you, maybe you can give us the background on how you went from Brazil to University of South Florida and then graduating with this degree, but then WTA Tour and now VP at Sense Arena.
So basically, as you said, I'm from Brazil. I was born in São Paulo. Grew up playing tennis. My mom was also a tennis player herself, so I was had a racket in my hand as early as 3-4 years old. Played junior tennis in Brazil, and then my mom sort of always had her dream of coming to the US to work and live after, and then sort of like at that point of my life, there was a decision of like, do I go pro, go to college? And I think I was very lucky where she ingrained in me how college tennis was important from just different aspects of life. So therefore it happened that I came, I did my last year of high school in the US, went on to play for University of South Florida, as you mentioned, for 4 years, where I graduated with double major. And then during that time, I was playing, the future levels of tennis and try also to play right after. But I've noticed that, I guess, as sure Luisa will speak more, that you need to have the extra drive, as to become a tennis pro. And I think, to be completely honest, I think I didn't have that at that point, and which was very tough, But I think on the other side, where I had discovered, I think myself in college, that I wanted to work in sports, for sure, which I actually did a investments banking internship, and I definitely noticed that I did not want to do that for my life. So the WTA was in St. Petersburg, which it's only 30 minutes away from where I went to school. And they were looking for a finance intern. So that's how I started my journey at the WTA, which then I spent 9 years there, working then as player relations, and then moving on my last 3 years as a tour soup, which was a lot of learnings. And I think the biggest of my accomplishments, I would say, it's actually just creating the relationships that I was able to be in the middle of this very high level performers at the end of the day, and see their drive, seeing their focus, seeing everything that they do to reach the highest level of the sport. It was fascinating. But then I would say, I had a little midlife crisis, to say if I would stay in tennis for the rest of my life. Completely took a left turn and went to work in a consulting business in sustainability for about a year, which was great. But then definitely understood that I miss sports for a lot. So as I was looking to get back into sports, this company, Sense Arena, which we've been in hockey for already for 5 years, but they were going into getting into tennis, and I had never really tried virtual reality before, and that was be my last phrase here. But basically, it's that when I put it on and I saw it, I think with the experience that I had as a tennis player myself, but just seeing the very highest performers, where you always just looking for a edge into your competition, whatever that is, that sort of drove me. That was like, I can totally see how can that help athletes as this technology evolves. So that's where I am today. And thank you for having us, Michelle.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Also, as someone that's older than both of you, we all have those moments where we're like, maybe I should leave tennis. And then you leave and you come right back, because we all obviously have a lot of passion for our sport. So that's a cool story. Lou, we have a whole podcast with you right after you won your Olympic medal. So I am going to encourage everyone to go listen to that and link it right here in this episode. So instead of having to tell your whole backstory, I kind of want you to pick up from right around your bad injury. I know you don't. We shouldn't talk about it
That's
or anything,
fine.
but you were having an amazing year. I still remember like watching the match at the U.S. Open, right? I think it was against Coco and McNally, and you got injured. And I think that's a lot of where the Sense Arena for tennis kind of comes in. So I want to talk about that. But talk to me about what's been going on with you since that moment.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the left turn in my life, or where things changed so quickly, it was right after the Olympic medal. Obviously, it's a big boom in my career and in life in general. But then shortly after, I was playing US Open semis, and it was my best result to the day in a Grand Slam. So we're on a roll. We're feeling good. I'm confident. I'm playing well with Gabby, and we were looking to get the title. But then I tore my ACL in the semis, and I had never had any major injury or any even little injuries that kept me out for a couple months. So let alone needing surgery. So it was a big change, a drastic scare, almost like a trauma. So, but I think I was in a really good headspace when that happened, which I think is what helped me not get over it quickly, but accept it and like find the answers really quickly. So I think I had a great start of my rehab in terms of, okay, like we lost the match, now there's nothing else I can do. I was very bummed about it, but I moved on really quickly to what do I need to do? What's the diagnosis? What's the MRI? What is ACL? Like, what does it do? What do I need to strengthen? And like, I literally left the court. We got the MRI the same day. I was really lucky and I felt very grateful to have all the support. So even at US Open or WTA and doctors, and I had family surrounding me. So I had a lot of support when that happened. So I think that also gave me a big boost that like it was going to be okay. So fast forward to a year later, I rehabbed and went back on tour last September in 2022. And things started off really well. I won my first 250, the first event back with Gabi as well in India, which was very special as well. I went to practice at US Open to kind of get a feeling and get back. It was hard to be there again, but I felt like I put a lot of work the whole year to come back strong, and I was feeling confident in my body. And obviously there's a lot of challenges coming back from such a major injury, mental and even physical. You're not the same. Your body's not the same. Your surroundings not the same. Throughout rehab, I also moved back from Brazil, which I had been living in the States for a long time. So I feel like my whole life changed in all ways possible. And it was a big opportunity to learn and to do things. And looking back, I have a lot of good memories from rehab. I feel like it's nice to be able to look back and like see all the good things that came from it. Obviously, I think I kind of let aside or avoid the tough moments, but sometimes it's good to remember what I had to go through, you know, to come back and start playing again. But last fall, I won 1,000 in Guadalajara, which was also a big week. I feel like since I've come back, I kept proving myself wrong or keeping proving to myself that I was improving, that my body was fine. And you have to consistently tell yourself in your mind that you can do it and that your body's going to handle it and that you're prepared and that you put the fitness work in. And so, yeah, so it comes to, I'll tell when I met Yannick at US Open as well. So I met Yannick at US Open because they were there showing the Sense Arena, and all this virtual reality thing was just something I had heard of. And it's like, oh, the future, you know, like virtual reality, everything is new, but I feel like the future is also now. And then it was really cool to try that when I was in a very, I think, stressful moment that I was about to start playing again.
Mm-hmm.
And so any resource that could help me get in a good headspace mentally to be ready to compete and trust my body, trust my knee especially, do the same movements when it's playtime. It's not just practice. That was really cool. And I feel like when you have the virtual reality, I'm a big visual learner as well. So I like seeing, I like feeling what I have to do. So in practices, if the coach tells me something, if I have a visual of where I need to be when I hit that shot, or how fast do I have to get to hit a volley a certain way, and I can see it, it helps me learn. It helps me pick up on what I need to do way faster. So I feel like that was a great tool to have right before my comeback. I only wish I would have had throughout my whole rehab process, because I think that would have been even better in terms of being able to use that. But later on, I managed to use it during the tournaments, and it's just the extra work off court, and you can kind of feel like your own court after not missing out because I learned other things, but missing out of matches and 1 year on tour and playing tournaments, when you can have a visual, very realistic of being on a match court and serving and returning and kind of having more of like, yeah, the visual of a tournament setup. It was really helpful to get up and get going again on tour. And then comes January. So for last year, I basically had no expectations, right? Like everything's bonus. I just wanted to see how my body would react. I had a little plantar fasciitis after I came back. So after you come back from major injury, sometimes you have a little other things that come up because you focus so much on one thing. And then that ended up getting better as we went through in off season. And then Australia was my main goal because it's my favorite slam. I had not been there in a long time. And so I got there kind of like really excited and ready to go. We played United Cup, which was a really fun atmosphere with Team Brazil. which I hope they keep doing those sorts of events, because it really unites. Really, there's men's, there's women's, there's the fans love it, everybody loves it, and it was a great preparation also for the swing. We went to Adelaide. We won the title there with Taylor, which was a really fun week. It was a last minute partnership because my partner pulled out, told me that she wasn't going to play. And so it worked out to play with Taylor, which is one of the most fun weeks I've had all year, playing doubles with her, because she's amazing. I love her game style. I love her energy and her competitiveness. So that was cool. And then we went on to win the Aussie Open mixed doubles title as well with Rafa Matos from Brazil, which was the first slam both Brazilians win together. Very special for us and for the whole country and for our families, and I mean everybody watching, so we could feel that energy. So I had a great start of the year. Went on to Abu Dhabi and won with Shuai, which is also a great partner, 500 there. So I feel like I had a lot going on since I came back, and then sometimes it's like all too much to gather all at once. But I think all the little things that I put together and the things that worked for me throughout my rehab process, that I learned both fitness and nutrition or sleep, and like trusting my body again and my partners and communication and relationships. I think those are all life relatable things that we kind of have to put together, and we get together, get thrown at us in tennis as well, that I learned so much that just paid off this whole time. So, and then I add Sensorina as well as another resource for me to add into my trainings. Anything that you can do to get on top of your game or to perform at a high level, but to also trust yourself mentally, because your subconscious plays so many tricks, especially after injury. So, and even without any injury. So you have to completely always try to find a way to get out of your own head and like perform, but also be a little balanced, not expect too much, but also push yourself and be ambitious and be competitive. So I think now I had a good reset after last month, which was a tough month for me, also a few nagging things. So now I'm ready to get back on the horse and start clay season with good energy, and I'm happy to talk to you guys because tomorrow's my first match.
Yes.
So I think this talk with good people is also a great way to work our minds and remind ourselves what we're here for. So that's where I am right now.
Oh my God, I feel like we just had Luisa's TED Talk. That was amazing.
Sorry. Yeah.
No.
I feel like I got in a rut.
Don't apologize. That was awesome. I think you have so many great things to be able to acknowledge all the things, and like I don't even know how to put it into words. It's inspiring and awesome. I have goosebumps.
Thank you. Oh,
Yeah,
well, that's
same
my
here.
life since Olympics, basically.
Well, we love that. And it seems like you have, I know you have a very small team, but it's so intentional. Everything that I've seen you ever do is very intentional. So having even Sensorina as part of a tool that you use obviously is for good reason. So let's get into it. What is Sensorina? I'm not really a virtual reality gal, so give me the download on what this is.
Yeah, so let me try to simplify. So think, virtual reality, it's not something new, right? Virtual reality, which for most people who have not seen, it's a headset, or a lot of people call glasses or goggles, that goes around your eyes, through your head. That basically it's an immersive experience for you to do any kind of activity, right? It started a very long time ago, more on the military and medical field, where those industries basically use to train their professionals. As we can imagine, you cannot really go into a war zone or do surgeries every day to go through that experience. So they started using that for people basically to feel that they're in that environment, which therefore when they need to perform at the quote unquote real time, they would be able to have that feeling, go through that process much easier. And then as technology evolved, of course, that technology was very expensive back then, which it still is in many ways. But now, since COVID happened, I think there was a huge boom from that sense, and then it helped become more accessible to the general public, but also into other industries such as sports. I think a lot of people know from how motor racing, especially Formula One, on how they use it, because again, it's a very dangerous sport, that which you cannot, spend $1 million cars every day of your week. But that's how they use it, again, to train your brain and to, as what Luisa was just saying, that power of visualization that allows athletes or any performers that, you can just get what, quote unquote, what we say, repetitions, right? But through your brain, not necessarily just physically. It's a huge bonus. So Sense Arena, now to get into a little bit more, it's a company which started 5 years ago, from Czech Republic. It started in hockey, and it has been very successful. We have over 5 NHL teams, 15 D1 schools that use it, and about 100 pros that use it, Sense Arena, in the hockey space already. Actually, the Frozen Four just happened, and two of the D1 teams that were on the Frozen Four used Sense Arena. And Quinnipiac, I don't know if I pronounced it correctly, which actually was the team that won it. Their goalie uses tremendously, almost on a daily basis.
Wow.
So we see how these, let's say, new players as well are starting to use more and more, and in being part of their training. So as hockey was pretty successful, in the end of 2021, the company decided to expand into another sport. And due to, we know how tennis has a huge history in Czech Slovakia, and as well as, the technical part of coming from hockey to tennis, because hockey you use a stick, in tennis you use a racket to control the ball, so it's not directly with your hand. It was also a way to go. So basically, now going to a little bit more the science part of it, is what we do in tennis, and what we talked about the other industries, that's the same exactly thing that we do. We try to help players visualize and get the repetitions into specific situations, so they can train their cognitive and mental skills. So we have a whole aspect of tennis drills that we call, which you're not there to, train your backhand technique or forehand spin, but actually to understand, okay, where do you position yourself, what that kind of decision that you're making, how fast you're reacting to the balls coming at you. And then we also have about 15 cognitive drills, which are very centered, not so much on the tennis court, but are very much, like touching balls, or touching, screens that you need to get, or putting, what do we call a multitask, which is like different squares, triangles, and so on. So
I love
like
that
it's
one.
very, yeah. So it's
I
really
heard
like
that
to,
there's a drill where you're like doing tennis and being asked math problems.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
So you
that
gotta
sounds
hit the
cool.
volley where the correct answer is,
Oh,
or
that's
from the
cool.
baseline too. But volleys is even tougher because it's a bit less time. Huh? I that's one of the ones that I was gonna mention because it's so hard. Sometimes you have to. So the machine feeds you the ball, and you have your. He's gonna explain how you go, but you basically put your glasses, and then you have your racket on your hand with the widget that it's gonna show where the ball's going. And so when they throw you the ball, you gotta hit whatever the right answer is. So they might give you 4 different numbers. So it's 2 plus 2. You gotta hit the volley or the ball from the baseline wherever the number 4 is. So you gotta aim like cross court, or you gotta aim short down the line. So you kind of have the visual, and also your technique will kind of change depending accordingly to where you want to hit. And then they track scores. So for all the athletes who are all competitive, it's also fun. So whenever you don't want something to chill, if you want to just be chilling, and like exercise in your mind, I feel like that's fun. But if you also want to get competitive, or even have fun with if you're playing with somebody or somebody else has it, you can also kind of do it like a little competition where you get more into it and do all sorts of drills. But yeah, you can continue. I love that one.
yeah, no, no,
I
no,
love
no,
that.
exactly. And I think, just to summarize that, that math, or we have like a color as well that pops up, and you need to hit to that color. as we know in tennis, you're probably one of the sports that you need to make decisions so frequently, and you're there by yourself making those decisions. Every 1 second you're making that decision, and so on and on and on, right? And then how we can help players, that's more than a decision, right? So if it's 2 plus 2 and you need to hit to that four, it's just what we call speed up your brain. So the faster that you can make decisions, the faster your muscles react to make that decision on court, right? So like that gives you that extra millisecond that then you become quote unquote a faster player, which at the end of the day, your brain is becoming faster. So at least you take a little bit of a less toll in your body for your brain being faster.
A lot of our listeners are pretty competitive, like USTA players, 4.0, 4.5, 3.5, but playing on a lot of leagues. So how would you see this working best for someone like that? And is it something that they could replace their practice with? Or is it something where like they could do it 20 minutes a day? How would it best be used by, let's say, not a rec player, but someone that's pretty serious about their tennis?
I feel like replacing it is hard. I don't think you would want, because you want that one-on-one kind of interaction. I think it's more to use it to your benefit. I would say though, for me, when it's raining, for example, or if you're going to miss out on the court, I know maybe dry California won't get much rain at some parts of the year, sometimes
Hopefully
of the
not
year,
the rest of the year.
but I think on a rainy day, on a rainy day is a perfect way to practice or to work on something specific and keep it light as well. And then you can work on specific shots on your own if you want to work on your backhand or on your serve, on your return, or those cognitive. Or you can make a full practice, select 5 or 6 drills and do it. I think for people who also have busy schedules, you don't have to get out and take it for an hour. You can take it out for 15, 20 minutes. They can also use it for a warm up. Like, oh, maybe I'm at home. I want to, get active a little bit before I head out to wherever you're going to hit. So you don't get out and just start playing. Because I know some players, or some people that play, they might warm up and do their stretches, but some people might just go on and play, and then you don't really want to get injured. So maybe that's a way to not put so much stress on your body, but keep active and motivate yourself to maybe do a warm up and do a cool down before or after you play. So I'd say, those are a few things that I feel like it could be very effective. And then they could also measure the benefit of it and how it helps them, or kind of gauge how much it improved when they were actually hitting and when they were mentalizing and visualizing it. Because I think part of it too is when you use it or when you're doing it, you kind of get into the mindset of like, oh, this is game day, or this is going to be my practice. So you're not just like, I don't know, sending emails on your phone and then you're off to play and then your head is still somewhere else. Maybe it's a way to kind of like, it's not about only yes, you have the mental skills that you start developing or working on it, but it's also getting into a headspace of like tennis in a also very fun and kind of light way, and different as well, because most people don't really do it.
Yeah, no, it's great. Just to compliment there, Michelle, what Luis was saying, that the stimulation of your brain and sort of bringing your focus to that aspect, it's huge. And let me give you 2 use cases here. Let's talk about a little bit like the adult leagues, the USTA and so on. As I think Luisa perfectly described, all of these players most likely they have their own busy schedules outside of their tennis leagues. Apart from the very fanatics that it's probably their full-time job. But I think of those, just being able to get that extra 15, 20 minutes of, you're heading to practice and you don't have really time to warm up, and you gotta get there, you have 5 minutes warm up and play. It's getting this, reaction, focusing, anticipation, that you get on court much more aware of your space, but also your brain is much more stimulated. One thing that we've noticed that we've talked to players is that, and even I can even remind myself, is like when I would be there training, I would warm up and do like that 10-15 minute warm up, and I will be physically warm, but I'll get on court and my brain will be completely, somewhere else. And I would say the other use case, it's the juniors, especially from 12 to 17-year-olds. That's a huge, especially because their brain is developing so much and absorbing so much. Therefore, like their reaction, their anticipation, that focus aspect, it's in full mode, right? So like by being able to just do 15, 20 minutes, 3 times a week, that already increases and it becomes much more efficient, that type of training. So I think that those are the two ways that, and as Luisa said, recovery as well as warm up. Sorry.
We'll take a dog cameo. If you,
Yay.
I was gonna say,
Oh
Please.
my
we
gosh.
we love the puppies on this podcast.
We do. I want a puppy to travel with me.
You have
I need
to.
I need to work on it.
Side quick puppy story. I want to do a team T-Dub dog calendar, so you have until the end of the
Oh.
year.
Cool.
Just
Okay.
saying.
Yes. I'll work on it. I have a few more months.
Okay, back to virtual tennis. I am actually making my way back into the coaching world after a 10-year hiatus, and will be coaching a team this fall, which I'm very excited about. But I saw, Yannick, that your alma mater is also using this. So the University of South Florida is using it. How is this being used in a team aspect? Can a team share one device and like different players use it, or can they all have them and practice together? Talk to me about the team aspect of this.
Yeah, so USF, they started using January, February, men's and women's team. They've started using it. They both have, each of the team has 2 headsets. But when the team environment, everyone has their own profile. So they can set up their own profile, so the coach can track their own, performance. Different ones do different ways. I know, for example, the women's teams, they do more of like a team, quote unquote, Sense Arena practice. And as Luisa was saying, they actually thrive a lot on the competition. So they choose, certain drills and how, can each one of them can do best and whatnot. And when the men's team, it's a little bit more, let's say, individual training, where each one they have their own needs, because it has a little bit more of that visualization of like, someone doesn't like to play against a lefty player. How do I see that? Or someone likes to do more the volleys or returns and whatnot. So that's more from that team environment. But I think the most important part here, being a university or being an academy, it's that the coach can set up, just the different number of profiles, and then we have a cloud platform which you can access through your mobile or your computer, and then you can see your results from day 1 to day 20 and whatnot. So you can also track that aspect.
That's awesome. And then you have a ton of partnerships with some really amazing names. We've got Luisa here, but you also have Martina Navratilova hanging out with you guys, and a few others. So maybe talk to me about the pro relationships and what that looks like and how they're helping with the platform.
Yeah, so Martina was, let's say, as we can imagine, as a trailblazer in so many ways. She was also one with Sense Arena, so she was in the very beginning of our journey, from an advisor and of course from an ambassador. Like she, I think, revolutionized the game in so many ways, from that physical aspect of tennis. And now, like she even says, one of the things that she says is that the game has become so physical that you get, all players now are basically fit. But now, like, what the differentiator really starts to come more from that mindset, that mental game. And so, how can Sense Arena sort of like help athletes in that aspect of it? So again, Martina has been tremendous, and she's just such a great ambassador, and it's so authentic, and of course it helps that she's Czech as well.
Yeah.
In certain ways. And then of course, Luisa was probably number 2 or 3 of one of the pro players that started using it. She started using before we actually launched officially the product. So she started using this US Open. We launched in November. So, we have right now, I think about 16 or 17 pros that use it. Jennifer Brady, she's been using to recover herself. But Jack Sock, Kamjanovic, Rory also started, trying out and whatnot. And then we have, so more of the pros, they use on their own ways and needs. And then we have a six, apart from Martina, we have six advisors who work internally as well to help with drills, functionalities, and whatnot. And we have advisors all the way who Claudio Pistolesi, who coach Soderling, worked with Monica Salis, to actually coaches who work at high performance academies. So we have the different use cases and how best gets to that point. So and then we actually also just partner with IMG Future Stars as well, which was great. Just having the IMG, just we know how IMG is involved in tennis in so many ways, but also the Future Stars, which at the end of the day, as we just talked about, that level of the juniors being exposed to this technology, because they're creating their own routines, their own ways to train, which the pros, and then I think that's even more, I think the pros taking on Sense Arena at the level that they're at, which a lot of them, they have the routine, from A to Z, so defined. So like taking it into a new tool, which I know, like Luisa or all these other pros are always looking for something to make them better. But, these junior players, they're actually developing their own routine. So, I think for us, it's really helping and educating that generation on how they can hopefully use this to use now, but also, when they reach the highest level, which that's what we're really seeing in hockey as well.
Nice.
They're born into technology, huh?
Yeah.
This new generation.
That's crazy. If I get on there, am I able to see like Luisa's scores or like her favorite drills even? Or maybe has she created any drills for us? Because she always has great drills.
We had a good one recently.
Yeah.
Huh? Maybe we should add that one.
I know. That's what I was thinking. It was kind of cognitive too.
Yeah. So actually, I know Luisa, as she mentioned beginning of the podcast, she's just been so busy and she has had so much great results. We definitely, when we've done that with Jennifer Brady, since she has been able to have a little bit more of the off time at this point, but she's put together what we call a training plan. So sharing a little bit of how pros and athletes train, so it helps the general public, the juniors, the recreational, the leaguers to train. So we try to do that on and off. So we already have like Martina's training plan and so on. So definitely need to get with Luisa. Hopefully she won't really have much time because she's gonna just continue to keep winning. But when she has a little break, definitely we'll pick her brain. Because that's how we thrive. It's with the expertise of people who use it. So
nice.
Yeah, we'll find some time for sure. We'll get on to it.
So, but Luisa, maybe you can tell the listeners there what's your top 2-3 drills.
Yeah.
No, I love the cognitive one. I think I love the fast reaction. Like I said, because of doubles, I think it's cool. It's important to be able to have fast reactions, but also when you have the math problem that you have to hit the right place, you kind of have to see where the person's returning, make the decision to poach or not poach, or if the ball's coming at you, and kind of like where you want to go with that ball after you go. So you need to anticipate it, but you also want to make, put away volley. So the volley ones are definitely my favorite. I benefited a lot from returns, especially technique-wise, just like footwork, split step, get behind the ball, short swing, forward. I think that's one of my, it turned out to be one of my favorites. Initially, it's just a lot of reps and work. I like the middle, like grooving. I feel like it's not the most fun drill, but I like it to just kind of start warming up and like, start bouncing and like, especially if I want to get in the mood of like getting more intense. I use the cognitive ones. I use the lights one as well, where you have to like kind of pick, go towards the light where the ball is. I say light, but it's the ball. So just go with the widget where it goes. I think all the fast throws ones. So the volley one I can also do from one side or the other side. So I choose where I stay. Especially coming back from injury, I injured at the net on one side as when my partner was serving. So I feel like going back to like that visual for me is also like nice. I won't say it's my favorite, but it's definitely one that I use a lot just because mentally. So yeah, for sure.
That's awesome.
But I wanna create a new one. Maybe we'll create a plan, a training plan.
So now that I want to go play virtual tennis, what do I need? What do we need? How do we get involved? How do we start? How do I sign up? Tell us how someone listening can check out Sensorina and get going.
Yeah, so we have our website, so tennis.sensorina.com. You get there, you'll find all the information that you need. There you can select your plan. And the racket, the size of your racket. One big thing that we haven't talked too much about it is that we offer a racket, which is haptic. So which actually means that it vibrates when you hit the ball. So you're giving that more immersive feeling when you're inside of the application. And as well, it's similar weight and balance independent of the racket that you use, but it's an overall pretty 290 grams with the balance point pretty close to the actual racket. And then apart from that, it's just the MetaQuest 2, which you can find in any electronic store, Best Buy or Amazon, which again, it's not only used for Sensorina, but you can have a bunch of different applications in there. So it's done by Facebook. So if you type MetaQuest 2, you'll find it in majority of the stores around you.
I kind of want to ask this question because I know our listeners will, and they love to geek out on gear, and we love to geek out on gear at Tennis Warehouse, obviously. Can you customize the racket? Like, can you change like what the string setup feels like, or like how heavy or head heavy? No, probably, maybe.
Yeah, the part of the heaviness on the strings, no, because it's virtual, right? So I don't know if Luisa has done, but I always try to move my strings, but I'm not able to. But what it is cool from a customization aspect of it is that actually you can. So we partner with Head and also with Solinco. So you can actually choose any of those brands. So I think, Luisa, you use the Radical. Is that right?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right.
So,
and Hyper-G.
Yeah. So she can actually have her Radical head racket, with her doing the drills. And we hope, to expand to other brands as well.
That's cool.
And then just the customization, again, it's important to say that you can choose grass, hard court, clay court, and as well, like what time during the day, if it's, morning, if it's afternoon, so you see the shade parts of the court, or playing at night as well, which I definitely didn't like playing at night. So that's something else that you go through mentally. And one of the biggest things, which a lot of people don't like it, but it's actually super beneficial, it's the wind. So you can customize and put wind within it, which is actually very frustrating in Sensorina in itself. So if you want to get your frustration out before you get on court, or at least get your brain that like this is what I'm going to experience, we have that ability as well, which again sometimes I get frustrated, but I think that's the point, right? Yeah, it's having the ability and how to deal with it.
That's cool. I love that. I mean, I hate that, but I love that. It's basically like doing the thing that you need to do that you don't want to do, but you got to do it. So that's cool. And you can never like practice for a really windy day. You can't just like go out on a perfectly sunny day and be like, oh, I know it's going to be windy where I play this weekend. So that's really cool. What else do you need to tell us that we haven't talked about? You guys are so awesome. I could talk to you forever. It's the Brazil vibes. I swear, you guys are like, everyone from Brazil is so awesome.
Yeah, I love our Brazilians. We always get together.
No, I think from my side, look, I know that as we're talking about routine and performance, I first of all like to thank Luisa for taking the time, because I know that
Of
being
course.
at events, it's never easy. So I appreciate it. And I know that she has her own stuff that she has to do. And I know Michelle also just being here with us. But from our side, again, just get on the website, learn a little bit more. We have our whole contact page. So please feel free to email me, call me, or anything that you have any questions, and any of the listeners have any questions, more than welcome to speak to them and spend time. And also, if you already have Sensorina, please give us a shout. We love to hear, because what we do in Sensorina in the virtual world, the beautiful thing is that we can customize much quicker than the real world. So we're always open to feedback, because hopefully we can continue to improve the technology to everyone.
That's awesome.
Nice. Thank you. Yeah. And I think what I was gonna add is, first of all, thanks for having me. I'm so happy to be part of Sensorina. It's a really cool platform and new resource, like I say, to use on tour and also off. But I think for everyone who has listened or who's listening, I would say test it out, try it out. I'm a big fan of everybody needs to find what works for them. I think this is something that can work for a lot of people in different cases, whether you're pro, whether you just love tennis, whether you play on the weekend or you play once a week or every day. I feel like you can benefit from this, whichever level you're at. So I think give it a try. And if you have questions, ask. I know when I started or my first time trying, I had a lot of questions and even like feedback for you. And I think it's cool to have this back and forth, so you can actually maximize everything that Sense can give you, just in terms of drills or specifications, or like some things he said here I didn't know totally. So I think I still have questions as it comes, because it's kind of new and it's a lot of features. And so the more you kind of explore, the more you ask, the better you can get from it too. So I hope everybody can try it out and feel, and yeah, and like share as well, because I think it's the cool part of it. Once it starts growing, I'm really excited to see them grow, because I know this is gonna pick up and a lot of people are gonna make good use of it. And for Michelle, congrats on the coaching position. I'm really excited to
Yay.
hear. Can't wait to follow along and see what you do next. But we'll keep in touch, and thanks for having me. It's really fun. It's really cool. Great energy talking to you guys. So thanks for having me.
Always. And don't get me wrong, I'm not leaving Tennis Warehouse. I will be coaching a local high school team of young ladies, which I'm
Awesome.
very excited. Fun fact, I used to coach college and high school, so I'm just kind of
Yeah.
adding on. But
Awesome.
I feel like this is such a cool tool. And as someone that is a bit old school, we used to always say the only way you could like mentally prepare was to play matches. And this is a new way of like actually being able to work your brain a little bit and be in the situation and not have to like go to the court, pack your bag, set up a match, do this, all that. At first, I was kind of like, oh, is this just going to be like Wii tennis, or like, yay, it's going to be fun. We play, but it's like actually very beneficial and has cognitive work and technical work and all the things. So I actually am excited to take a closer look and get invested and check it out, because I feel like it could be such a cool tool for players of all ages and levels.
Yeah, for sure. Let us know what high school we
Definitely.
can definitely, hopefully get you guys going. And Michelle, as you said, as in Luisa said, this more than anything, it's a complement. We're definitely not trying to replace on-court training. Just like any tool, we're here to, make your whatever training more effective, more productive, to make sure that the athletes have a better performance. That's our ultimate goal, is that athletes, can get a little bit better every day. So
Awesome. And of course, in the show notes, we will link all the links so you can go straight to Sensorina. We'll link Luisa's Instagram and videos that she's recently done with Tennis Warehouse, because we got to see her at BMP. And thank you both for your time. This was awesome. Love your energy. Luisa, wishing you all the best of luck, not only in Stuttgart, but the rest of the year. We're so excited to keep an eye out. Yes. And Yannick, it was great meeting you. You were awesome. I love the Brazil connection. I'm just here for it. Thank you guys both. This is awesome.
Thanks, Michelle. That was fun.
Yay. Happy
So glad you
hitting.
guys connected too.
Yes, I know.
Thank
We
you.
love those. Happy hitting.
Yeah.
Good luck, Lou.